Welcome back, YouTubers, to another topical Wednesday video with us, the British Fist.
Gotcha.
Where the money is at, where the money is at is sitting next to me. But firstly, I'm Mr. Parkin, but it just does not matter because the guy sitting next to me is NJ.
What's up?
What's up, NJ? And what's up to you guys out there? Subscribe up above, like this video, and comment your thoughts on this video down below.
And make sure you contact us in those links in the description box below.
Yes, those links right down there. They're real funny links. Anyway, in today's video, we're going to be talking about ways we'd improve the mid-card division, i.e. the Intercontinental and US title division itself. Just ways we're going to do sort of a little rants on things that we don't like about it, but also suggest ways we'd improve it there by being a bit more logical about the video itself.
Now, I think the first thing we should talk about, Dan, is back in the Attitude Era and just maybe a little bit after.
Pre that as well.
Pre that even as well. When the mid-card and when the mid-card actually meant to the WWF/WWE.
It was the thing that was below the main event. I mean, you look at SummerSlam 1992, that match between Bret Hart and British Bulldog, main event at the show, and had two great wrestlers in it for a title that actually meant something. You go to 1998, Rock and Triple H at SummerSlam, two guys that were going to be main eventers, this was the way to get them in the main event. Things just do not seem the same now, and I think some of the improvements we would suggest here could actually get it to not that level, but something similar to something that we'd actually kind of care about now, don't you think?
That is very true, and what I'm going to say is this. Dear WWE, ... Here we go.
That's a good way of starting, I like that. Very innovative. The first thing we want to talk about here is, you know, WWE haven't really been doing this much recently, and that is using the Intercontinental and US titles as stepping stones to the main event. Now, we saw this kind of with Miz, but it was more to do with his Money in the Bank, but he had a US title to go with it. But they don't seem to be using that anymore, and I think that's kind of a bit of a shame, really, because the mid-card division should really be used to establish and heighten guys in that main event scene. It just doesn't really have the meaning now to do that, and that's really fucking annoying. And I really think that's one thing WWE should do. Use that mid-card title to establish main event guys, and then push them on afterwards, make them lose it, push them onto that main event.
Because the way we look at it now, they're giving the championship to really anyone, really. Yeah. Anyone that is not even doing anything or just wanted something special. Yeah, basically. Like we've had like Kofi Kingston throw here and there. We've had Drew McIntyre have it in the past.
Yep.
We've had.
Let's look at who we got now. Dolph Ziggler and Cody Rhodes.
People just blowing about having it, and you're thinking, okay, it's good that they're actually having a belt that used to mean something, but now. Just nothing.
You look at the two champion holds we got now, Dolph Ziggler and Cody Rhodes. We know they're going to be future main eventers, right? But we know that this isn't going to be a way to establish them as main eventers. We know that that way is going to be done via Money in the Bank or something. But what I'm saying is, the way that these guys have got championship, Dolph Ziggler on Raw, Cody Rhodes on SmackDown, the way they hold these titles and the way they defend them, give them a long title run that actually means something with some meaningful feuds, and you can do so much more to establish them as main event guys than you can do just giving them a prop. And, you know, having them maybe flaunt it about every now and then on a SmackDown or a Raw.
Well, that's where I see it, because, to be honest, like, the only problem I have with them is that, yes, they're the champ. Yes, WWE thinking they deserve this championship for whatever reason. But, again, as we've called it, it's just a prop. So, to us fans, them holding that championship just doesn't mean anything.
No, it's literally just a prop. And you're there thinking to yourself, you know, I know Cody Rhodes can really make this title really make this title mean something, and he is going so far as to make it mean something. But as for Raw, the US title is stuck in a stupid feud with Vicky Guerrero and Jack Swagger and Dolph Ziggler and and A-Ryan. It's just like there's no direction for the US title at the moment. It's the same kind of with the Intercontinental Championship, because you don't really know what Cody is doing. We know he's probably going to have a feud with Ted DiBiase. But there's kind of doesn't really seem to be any direction for the champions, which really you need to be given. It really begs to differ. Where's the writing for these guys?
I can't really see it, because I look at Raw now and think, right, your whole pay-per-view is coming about the championships, and we've been lost. You've got 1 week to actually give us an opponent, and yes, by the time we upload this, we may have the match made of who's going to go and face the United States champion,
or even the IC.
Yeah, it's true. It's just a bit confusing,
Yeah.
They haven't really booked matches or booked rivalries to make their possible feuds, and I think that's been lacking for a while now.
Yeah. Going back to what I've said about the writing, that's kind of what the writing is. That's why the writing is suffering at the moment. We see that WWE's long-term writing has really gone out the window now. They don't really plan long-term feuds, and that means that guys that are in that mid-card division that have the title don't really have any long-term direction. They don't know what they're going to do with these guys. Whereas before, you'd have guys like The Rock and Triple H holding a mid-card title, or even a guy like Bret Hart holding a mid-card title. And you knew that you were going to be making them a main event guy soon, so you knew you could use that feud to really make them matter, and that made the belt matter.
That is true. I think the other problem they seem to have with this whole US and Intercontinental Championship is the roster. Like, they've had to use someone who used to be a main eventer, Wade Barrett, who used to be the main eventer on Raw. And they've given him the Intercontinental before. The only reason they really did that, yeah, they might have any idea for Wade, but I think it's also because basically they're giving a championship to anyone and just hope it means something. But when they gave it to Wade, it didn't do much for him.
You talk about Wade Barrett being a main eventer, but you had guys in the past like Chris Jericho, Shawn Michaels, William Regal that could put over a guy in the mid-card division. And you don't see Wade Barrett as the kind of guy that could put over someone. Wade Barrett is the kind of guy that needs to be developed himself. So, if you have him as the IC champion and you've said, you just said he's a main event guy,
yes.
And you look at it and you think to yourself, well, he's not putting any, he's come down from the main event to the mid-card. That is usually done so that people like that can put mid-card guys over. But you don't want to do that with Wade Barrett because he's a new guy and you want to develop him yourself. You want to develop him, better, not just leave him in that mid-card division. I mean, he had a feud with Zeke, but that was all about the core. Really, it wasn't about the championship. It was more about the group, wasn't it?
It was, and I really don't think giving him the Intercontinental Championship did anything to his really career. It didn't give him a push or anything, really, not really. So I think, to be honest, that brings me to the rest of the roster. They haven't got enough roster to make interesting matches going for the championships.
Combine the two titles, maybe, if you don't have enough people to contest both of them.
That would be
combine the championships. Therefore, you have more people to work with. You can do number one contendership matches, which is one thing we would do to improve. You could work feuds between different people. Remember, at the moment, mid-card feuds are very stale. With Dolph Ziggler, Kofi Kingston, we've seen that so many times. Drew McIntyre, Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, Kofi Kingston. We've seen all them kind of feuds, even with the draft. So if you have more people in there, you can really mix up these feuds and really mix up the championships and give it to different people who really need them to be elevated.
I think they need to put the championships together because really, if you have them separate, like Intercontinental US, there's really not enough matches going on. There's not enough wrestlers going for make a good enough number of contenderships.
Yeah. At least all the writing then can go onto that one title rather than the two titles. It seems like they're struggling to do writing for both of them.
He looks good.
I do agree with your whole number one contendership thing. When was the last time we saw a number one contendership match, for the US or IC championship? I mean, it just seems to me like if you have some beef with the IC champion, you get a shot at it. Whereas before, we've got a lot of our DVDs, we have number one contendership matches at pay-per-views. I mean, hell, for No Surrender, we had a number one contendership for the X Division title on the pay-per-view,
We did, and I'm just looking at it now. Number one contendership actually used to mean something in the WWE, WWF, and actually it gave the championship more of a meaning than what it does now. Yeah. And that is just one big problem that we're having now. Like we're having the only reason A-Right is getting all these shots is because, as Dan said, he's got problems with.
He came out and interrupted a promo with Ziggler.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking that is not really booking the championship to mean something to their actual feud.
Yeah. Too many guys are stuck in mid-card hell at the moment, aren't they? Like Kofi Kingston is one of those guys. Dolph Ziggler is one of those guys, even though I think he will better himself soon. Guys like Drew McIntyre are once stuck in mid-card hell. Now, so many people are stuck in mid-card hell, and it's because of this meaningless mid-card division that they can't go above that. And I think that's why if you give meaning to this title, you can really do so much better for your roster. And let's face it, at the moment, WWE need to elevate guys because they don't have as much star power as they used to do. Therefore, they need to use this mid-card division to really generate the next superstar, like either Cody Rhodes or the Dolph Ziggler or someone like even an Alberto Del Rio you could have done until he obviously won the title, but that's an odd case.
The only reason, we said this earlier in the video, wrestlers that have been moved from mid-card upwards, they haven't won it, they haven't got up there over, Miz, I can give him that. He did build himself up.
Alberto Del Rio.
But the only reason Miz got into the main event was because of Money in the Bank as well. Alberto Del Rio, he had to win the Royal Rumble to get out of the mid card. So it's not like they built their way up in some cases. Miz is one perfect example. He did build a way up.
Sheamus is an example of a guy who they didn't really build up too much and built the main event straight away. And now his title reigns mean nothing, and his character's kind of really jaded and really all over the place.
Again with Sheamus, he was put into a match against Cena because they needed more main eventers back when they had the Raw GMs,
too quick
guest hosts, And I'm just thinking it's pretty poor because they're really not really concentrating on how they could build certain wrestlers up without having to give them these special events like Money in the Bank, tournaments and that. They should just build themselves up like Miz.
Yep, and a similar thing with Orton and Batista when they were in Evolution. They didn't just go straight after the title. They won the mid-card titles first, I'm guessing. Someone like Orton had a great Intercontinental Championship run before he won the title with Evolution. People like that. What about, though, matches at pay-per-views? It seems to me like WWE can't give a US title or an Intercontinental Championship match at a pay-per-view. Usually the matches I used to look forward to were those matches for the IC Championship between two mid-card wrestlers like a Jericho or a Christian, or a Jericho or a Benoit, or a Jericho or an Angle, or a Benoit. You know, even Guerrero. Guys like that were all great in the mid-card division and always put on great matches. But now in the mid-card division, you don't seem to get the build to them pay-per-views, which could really produce one of those matches that can tear the house down in the middle of the card.
Well, that is a good point. Before we get straight into more detail about pay-per-views, championships are sometimes changed at Raw or SmackDown. And that thing, title matches you normally think of pay-per-views.
Yes.
Give the pay-per-view a hype, something to look forward to. Not on a Raw or SmackDown.
Give the title change some fucking meaning. You know, build a feud up to a pay-per-view. Have the blow-off at the pay-per-view rather than on a fucking free TV. Titles being defended on free TV is really making this belt meaningless, isn't it?
It is. That's the main thing. That's before I was going to get to pay-per-views. Yeah. I was thinking Raw and SmackDown, yes, you might be giving them high ratings, like, oh, Raw got this much, SmackDown got this much. But still, the pay-per-views are your draw of the month, and they need the special moments. They need the special matches, not your Raw and SmackDowns. They need, as we've been saying, the build-up.
Yeah, the TV shows are there to build up to your pay-per-views, and that is what it is, and that should be the case. The general consensus is to build up feuds, to build up championship feuds, to not have the title change hands on free TV, have it change hands at pay-per-view where people will have to pay for it. It's better for business that way, especially if you're trying to draw heat and money through the whole baby-face heel combination. But, you know, matches at pay-per-views, we really do lack them at the moment, don't we?
Because we look back at our DVD collection, and if you've seen our
SummerSlam reviews or
SummerSlam or DVD videos, you'll see how we describe them. We'll say that how that, oh, there was a big match with Ray, the Intercontinental Championship.
Benoit and RVD at SummerSlam 2002, we were great about.
Yeah, so there's all these special ones where you're thinking, that was at a pay-per-view, they did their job correctly. And I think, again, it just lacks it nowadays.
Yeah, it definitely does, especially in the build, like we have now for Night of Champions. I know we're releasing this video after Raw, but we don't know what's going to go on with the titles matches at the pay-per-view. And a week before the pay-per-view, that is very weak, isn't it?
It is, and I'm thinking, again, the problem I'm having with this pay-per-view is that you are aimed to have all the championships on the line, where, with that being said, the WWE have to build it up.
Yeah, and you think that it would be a no-brainer, wouldn't you? You have to defend a championship, therefore you have to build up a feud. They don't really done it too well, have they? Especially with the IC Championship. You know, one of the problems, I think, just the people like, we don't have the Jerichos and Michaels anymore. The guys that can really elevate guys like, you know, Ziggler and Cody Rhodes, etc. And that is a big problem. You know, you don't really have those guys that could put over mid-card talent, which is why this whole belt is not meaningful at the moment.
The way I think of it, we do have people to put people over, but the W are just not allowing those people to put people over.
Well, who would you class as a guy that could put a guy over, for example?
A mid-card, well, again, they don't really have those wrestlers, as we were saying, but I'm thinking maybe if they had
Miz,
because he's done it all, and he's just only got the tag thing going now.
He's kind of developing his own sort of character in a way, isn't he? So he's not really one of those guys that can really.
But if he weren't going to this tag thing,
he
would be one because he's done it all. So he would have been a good one. We could have had Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
He's a perfect one, I think, because the way he's done it all now.
What about like a Big Show or a Kane or something?
I think them two, as much as I want to say to the main event, having them go against mid-carder, because they're big guys, that will look impressive when you beat them or whatever, they would be possible choices.
Yeah.
They have got wrestlers, but that is the point. They're not using them in a way to help the younger wrestlers.
And it's this writing, I think. I think it all goes back to the writing. The writing of the shows, of each show, is very last minute now. And that kind of affects the way these feuds are done and the way people are brought into this IC Championship or US title division. And I think the writing is one of the big things, in my opinion, that really needs to be improved, along with pay-per-view matches at pay-per-views, number one contenderships, maybe joining the titles together. All these things we've meant are all done there so we can bring more meaning to the belt or the belts. If you want our idea, we'll join them together. They're all done there to bring meaning to the belts so you can develop these guys a lot better. Something that WWE aren't really doing too well at the moment. We've seen Ziggler win the World Heavyweight Championship for like 10 minutes. And now he's back at the mid-card. It's like, you know, what?
Well, I look at it now and again, I want to start looking forward to Intercontinental title matches, US title matches, but it's just that because of all our points we've named in this video, it's really lost its whole feeling to it.
Yep.
When I hear an Intercontinental title match, I think, yeah, okay.
Well, not quite that much, but sort of. You don't really feel it's going to be that good of a match, do you? And that's the problem. That's why we need more meaning on this belt. Even if you just make it an IC championship, you need to just bring more meaning to it. More meaning like what it used to have. More meaning, not necessarily loads of meaning like, you know, pre-main event thing, but even just some meaning so we can look forward to the matches, do you know?
That's the point.
Is that anything more you want to chat about before we, you know, end the video?
That's it, I think.
Really? So we've mentioned a lot of points here, haven't we?
We're just disappointed with the way that the WWE are looking at their mid card.
Yeah.
They're more, as we said in our Raw and SmackDown reviews, they're concentrating more on the main events than what they are with the other championships going on.
Which is what they think is going to bring them TV ratings.
Sometimes
people want to see a mid card thing, but there we go. So you've heard our improvements. You know, combining the two belts, possibly building up to pay-per-view matches. You know, getting some guys in there that can really elevate in mid card guys. #1 contendership matches. Improve the writing, especially if you're just you can improve the writing so much more if you have it on one belt rather than two. Get some of these guys out of mid-card hell and into that main event using this belt and use it as a stepping stone to main events. You know, points like that, simple points that WWE used to embrace, now they don't. Simple points like that would really take this mid-card division very far.
And the sad thing is, even with our points we've made, yes, there might be some we've missed, but at the same time, I really can't see the WWE doing this. As much as we want it to relive it, make it better. The way the WWE are going, I just don't think they're going to.
And let's not forget, WWE need to also be able to bring guys into the mid-card division if we're going to get guys out of it into the main event scene. And I don't really think they have many of those either.
No.
It's a whole other point.
So I'm thinking, if the WWE ever do, because they're doing their tag at the minute, if they do decide to do the mid-cards afterwards, I'll say good luck to them.
Yep.
But for now, it just doesn't look like they're doing it.
Definitely not. So, you know, guys, you should get your thoughts in on this in that comment section below. If you have any improvements, any points you want to make about the mid-card division which you feel we may have missed, get them in that comment section again. Keep subscribing to us up above. And that's been it from me, Mr. Parkin, and this guy sitting next to me. You know who he is. It's NJ.
What's up?
But you already knew that. We are the British Fist.
Catch you.
Coming for another topical video.
And that's been it from the two short-haired Brits. And I'll say one word. Goodbye.